Welcome to the brand new. Hey everyone, welcome to the brand new Benzinga After Party show with myself, Ryan, and co-host Aaron. This is a very different show from what you're used to seeing on the Benzinga Network. We're a laid-back, chill show where you come to detox from the market. So grab a beer, seltzer, water, coffee. I got a coffee. Aaron's got a beer, and we can have some fun together, laid back. So I want to start this off. You're probably wondering who we are. So Aaron, could you go ahead and please intro yourself?
What's up, y'all? What's up, Zinger Nation? This is producer AB. I don't know, you guys might check out the Power Hour. I've been working on that with Luke and Raz and Rohan and Aaron. It's been a blast. I'm fresh out of college from University of Missouri. I've been trading for about 10 years. I started real young at like 13, getting into some stocks, but mainly for the past 5 years into some options. Love stocks, and so my buddy Ryan here, we had this idea for a show and we just had to do it.
Yeah. So I'm Ryan. You probably seen me on Twitter. I've had the pleasure of being on Benzinga twice so far. I was on Power Hour once, and last week I was on here with Spencer. We had a lot of fun. This idea came up when we were on the Power Hour the first time. Jason Raznick, the guy behind Benzinga, gave us the green light to start working on this. So producer Aaron and I have been working on this pretty quickly for the past like week and a half. And we said, hey, we got this idea. Aaron had the brilliant idea of going, hey, let's make this very laid back and have some fun. Everyone can come chill. All the markets are essentially closed, Webull, TD Ameritrade. So we can come here, everyone. We could recap the day where everything's going on, have some fun, bring in fun guests. So today we've got guest Kevin Ryan coming on. So that's going to be a blast. He's a comedian, hilarious. And just get everyone ready for the next day for the market. So we had a lot going on today, Aaron. I don't know. I know you've been watching the markets with all that too. Just real quick, I have been trading myself. I've been watching the market since 2012, started trading in 2017 myself, got a lot more active in trading in the FinTwit community this past year, where everyone's showing me a lot of love on Twitter. So thank you so much to everyone who's been doing that. So crypto went crazy this past week, man.
Yeah, we saw, I know you came on and you were on SOS, right?
Yeah. So Bitcoin went a little bit wild. I had a prediction set for February 14th that Bitcoin would break 50K. Was a day late, but was good enough, I think, in my books. And so Bitcoin hit 50K, and SOS, we talked about it last week with Spencer on Benzinga Live. So if you guys aren't watching and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you can get all these shows and all this stuff going on. And smash the like button if you haven't already. Let's get this video up to like 25 likes if we haven't, and get everything going. We talked about SOS. It was $4 back then. Crypto was heating up a little bit. I've been tracking crypto for a while, and we talked about it. And today it had a really, really wild day. Aaron, do you mind if we could pull up the chart real quick?
Yeah, of course. 1 second.
So if you guys have been in SOS, this morning it had a bit of a wild day. It opened up around like in the 13 area. It did pretty good. It went as high as like at 940, went as high as 1588, which is really good. It like broke almost all the price targets we had set for it. And then something happened around like the middle of the day, like around 11, 12. Things start getting a little bit wonky, and the stock just started dropping really quickly, and we have no idea why. There was no news, nothing bad, no offering, nothing really crazy, but it looked like a massive stop loss trade, and the stock got halted 3 times. I was talking to my team and the people that we were working with, and everyone was just like, what's going on? We had no clue. Nothing made sense. There was no reason for the stock to drop. But so I held. I said, I'm not selling this. And the stock bounced. After the third hold, it bounced from 1885 and just went up and just kept chugging up, and stabilized in around like around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, stabilized within that $12.80, $13 range. It stabilized, and then after hours it went to as high as $14. And I think tomorrow it's gonna have a pretty good day too. It's been moving. It's a stock that's doing pretty good. It's a new Chinese mining stock, not so new, but they mine Bitcoin and Ethereum. So that's the new hot thing now.
Which stock are we talking about, just for anyone who might be joining us?
Ticker SOS, the Bitcoin mining company. They're pretty good. They're doing decent. They've been expanding. When I was originally told about this stock, I didn't jump into it just yet. I knew that these folks needed to expand and buy more miners, so I said I'm going to hold off. There's an offering or two coming. I'll sneak my way in, and that's exactly what happened. An offering dropped, and I snuck my way in right at the hairline $4. Then they came in with another offering, and the stock came down, and we caught it on the bounce on Twitter. Said, hey, around 5:30 is a good point to jump in, and we jumped in at 5:30, and the numbers speak for themselves. When a sector's hot, and it keeps going. My favorite Bitcoin mining stock, Mara, had a pretty good day today too, but the leader was Riot. Riot went up as high as like $80 in after hours today. It closed at 8 o'clock at 81.40. It's been rocking and rolling. Mara, again, my favorite one, closed at 47.87. So the big topic that's been going on is, why is Riot going up so much faster than Mara? Well, Riot's got about half the float of Mara. So mathematically, Riot's going to move quicker. It's going to jump up faster. Mara had a bit of dilution in the past year, almost a little bit less than a year. And the float's higher. It's around 93 million, whereas Riot is sitting about in like the 50, 60 million float. So it mathematically makes sense. Their market caps are pretty close. They're almost around like 4.5, 5 billion. There's a little bit of a difference between them, but it makes sense because a lot of folks were freaking out. Why isn't Mara catching up? Why aren't we in the 50s, 60s, 70s? Mathematically, just based off of the float, you can't jump as fast when your float's bigger. So that's why a lot of folks love those low float stocks. And SOS is one of those low float stocks that has the luxury of jumping up and down pretty quickly. So for folks that are in that, they've been having fun. Also, DPW, I know that's another fan favorite stock that people have been playing around with. It's sort of in the crypto space as well. eBond's another one that had a marvelous day, 13% in the after hours market. That one's doing fine. And of course, everyone's favorite MFH. It was like the third Avenger that came into the party with Mara and Riot. So MFH had a little bit of fun today as well.
So Ryan, real quick before we go, I know we got a couple, or at least one more industry to get to before we bring on Kevin. Let's just do a little more background. Where are you from originally?
I'm from New York, born and raised in New York, Yonkers, New York. I work in New York City, but I'm in Yonkers now, having a blast back with my folks, chilling here. So, born and raised in New York. What about you?
I'm born in St. Louis, Missouri. So, born in Missouri, went to school an hour and a half west at Mizzou. So I've kind of been in Missouri for most of my life. Yeah, I love it here in the Midwest.
That's awesome, man. We have an hour between us. So like when we want to set up phone calls, I sometimes forget that Aaron's an hour behind. So I'm like, hey, where's Aaron? I'm like, oh, he's an hour behind. So that's why the phone call seems like a little bit later, but it's the time zones that we have a bit of fun with.
Yeah. Trust me, man, it's a lot to keep, everyone that's working from home across the country right now. That's, I'm sure, a problem that a lot of people run into. So what was the big thing that got you kind of into trading initially?
So my big thing was I wanted to make money on the side. So I have a 9-to-5, so I also wanted to make some money on the side as well. But so back in 2017, I was just an intern, and the pay wasn't great. So I was like, all right, I need to pay for college, I need to pay for school, so let's get some trading down. So I would invest a little bit of money here and there, and I would use that to supplement my college tuition payments, pocket money that I needed, and stuff like that. And then when I started working full-time, I had, of course, a bigger budget to play with because now the bigger check was coming in. So I could do that. And now since March, when I've been working from home, it feels like I'm just trading full-time because my 9-to-5 is good. It's a lot more laid back since I'm working from home. I'm a technical project coordinator. So when it comes to stuff like that, the projects are a lot less when you're working from home versus when you're in the office. So it gives me a lot more time to actually be in there, interact with the community that I've been having a lot of fun with, and just and rock and roll from there.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're not the only one out there that has basically kind of turned into a full-time trader from home during COVID. People are just on their computer all day, day trading, that never before really had the time and realized like, hey, man, this could be a way that I can make a few extra bucks.
Yeah, man, you have no idea. So I've talked to people who day trade in like the millions, and we've got people who swing trade using small amount of funds, $100, $200. It's awesome. So from my point of view is these folks are taking their financial independence in their own hands. They're looking for another way, even if you're just supplementing your income for a 9-to-5 or anything else that you're doing. It's a powerful thing. I work with a group of traders that I do through what I do with my Patreon, and there's folks who've been able to pay off all their debt by just starting to trade. Because of course, when COVID started, a lot of folks were hit. And if you sit down, learn the rules of trading, you don't have to day trade. That's the thing that a lot of people think is they have to sit there and day trade. And day trading is a lot more difficult, a lot more risky. You could just swing trade, find a few stocks, find where the sector is, find where we're going, and then just and swing trade. And folks are making a lot of money and during these crazy, crazy times. And it's unfortunate because there's a lot of people having a hard time, and there's folks that are out here who are trading and making their way through this hard times and trying to make the best of it.
Yeah, it's definitely like something to keep in perspective with the big discrepancy right now of where everyone's at. But it's funny how you're talking about that, because there's so many people that have been drawn in with the whole GameStop and everything. People are looking for like, what video I can watch or article I can read to teach me how to trade, make $1 million. And it's like, the bottom line is you got to ask yourself first, like, what are your goals? Because for someone that's just trying to supplement their income, the trading strategy is going to have to be a little bit different than if you're trying to, plan for your retirement. So there's no like one set cut way where people are like, this is how you should invest. And some people, I feel like, make it out to be that this is it, like, this is my strategy, this is the best one. But it's like, hey, what are your goals? And everyone's goals are going to be different.
100%. So that's very true. Some folks just want to make like $200 for the week and call it a day. And you got some folks who are opening up their first Roth IRA accounts and buying Apple back in March when it was down to the bottom. So that's 100% true. You got to find your own rhythm and rhyme to it. It's trading is an art form. Especially if you're new, a lot of folks get overwhelmed. This is a lot of things that a lot of new traders talk to me about, and they reach out to me. They say, hey, I'm overwhelmed. There's so much going on. I tell them, hey, start with one stock. Start with one stock, 5 shares, 10 shares, 50 shares. Invest only what you can afford to lose. Like, think of it as you're going out and buying a lottery ticket, or you're buying a school course, and you're going to try to learn from this and build it up from there. And it's okay if you lose. Like back when I started in 2017, I had a ton of losses, man. I remember, I think it was ADMP, which happened again to me this year. I took a big hit on it again this year with their Purdue stuff. But you got to learn from I've learned so much more from my losses. And of course, it sucks sometimes. You take a hit on the nose and the money goes down and you're like, man, this is brutal. But like what I like to do, like we were talking about this the other day, is I throw on a Netflix, completely zone out, completely detox. Hopefully moving forward, they can come and watch the after party and just detach from the market, sit down at the end of the night, pen and paper, figure out where I went wrong, what was wrong, just learn from it and don't repeat it. And find some resources, man. YouTube is a great, great university for traders. There's so many brilliant people that are out there that are teaching you exactly what you need to do. And just follow there. And Twitter, of course, has its best thing. And best of all, you've got Benzinga for all the news. You've got Benzinga Pro, which is a really, really powerful tool. I tell people all the time, it's the closest thing to a Bloomberg terminal that doesn't cost you $25,000, $28,000 a year. And just get out there, invest in yourself, and you can learn the tools, and eventually you can do it on your own. But start with a base and foundation. When I started, the only resources we had was Reddit, not the Wall Street's Bets channel. Back then, I don't think that was around, or if it was, I wasn't familiar with it. It was the Penny Stocks channel, where you would just pray to God that the person that posted this post was an honest person. You learn and try to do your best, learn the technical stuff from YouTube, and you'd start executing. And of course, you'd win and you'd lose, and you'd win and you lose. And then eventually you get the hang of it, you get better, and then you learn to find your own stocks and get up on your own feet. But you gotta get out there and trade, or just paper trade. Like back in 2012, 2013, when I couldn't afford to trade. Like back then there was fees on trading and I didn't have money. I came from humble beginnings. And I just did it with paper. I would sit down like, all right, had I bought Apple on this day at X amount, this many shares, how much would it be today? And then I'd say, okay, this is a good strategy. Find the dips and like the big crashes that come, use them to your advantage, have some seed money saved up to go in from there. And I don't know, how was your trading experience when you first started off with learning and adjusting?
Well, it's interesting. So I started, like I said, really young. Like I was 13. I come from a Jewish background, so I had a bar mitzvah, and you get some money when you're 13, and so
yeah, you guys got it good, man.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like, that's something I want to do. Like, oh, you get to have a party and you get money. Sign me up. Like basically. So I was 13. Like I said, my father had invested in stuff, so we he helped me with it. And really, like my dad was like a long time kind of Apple bull, and I grew up in the 2000s. I was born in 97, so it's like if you're in a family and your dad's an Apple bull during the 2000s, you kind of got to be, you're like watching the ride, going along with it,
right.
So That's where a lot of my money when I was 13. So this was in 2010, went into Apple. And if you look at Apple's chart over 2010 to 2020, it's pretty good. So, it makes me, it made me kind of real interested in it. And then it's actually funny. You were talking about getting kind of burned on a biotech stock. I still remember I was like 15 or 16 and kind of getting into researching stocks and stuff. And the company was Bluebird. The ticker is Blue. I don't even know if it's still around or whatever, but BLUE. And I was like, oh, like this company, they've got a pill that's going to cure cancer. And I took like half my money out of Apple, convinced my dad to put me into this Bluebird company. And it went down to like half of what I had invested it in. So then I'm like, so like you said, you learn sometimes more so from those losses than from the good ones. So it's all about a learning experience and just being kind of open about it and knowing like, hey, like, what can I do differently next time?
100%. Yeah. That's the thing is there's so many people are open about their wins, and sometimes it's good for folks to talk about their losses as well. Like Richard put in the chat, you got to take emotion out of, there's no emotion in paper trading. You're right, Rich. There is no emotion in paper trading, but sometimes when you can't afford to put money on the line, that's the closest thing you can do to start learning. There's no issue, but losses should be talked about more. I wish the whole Twitter community would talk about their losses more openly. People are scared that, hey, if they say like, all right, I lost $10,000 on Clove or whatever stock that went down, that they're going to lose 1 million followers. No, it's not it. It's you share with the community, you let them know. Like recently I was in a stock, GIK, I'm sorry, the SPAC that was merging with a health company. And I was so bullish on them. I was ready for these folks to be the next Teladoc. The investor presentation made sense. The financials made sense. I'd doubled and tripled my position. But unfortunately, it didn't pan out because stocks don't always pan out, even if the charts look good and the team looks good. It didn't pan out. And I was public about it. I said, hey, I'm pulling my investment from here right now. I will reassess and come down. I took a paper cut on it. And that's completely fine. What that taught me was that for the next SPAC that comes out in the health industry or health sector that's similar to that and doesn't have all the bells and whistles that make sense for it, the hot team that executed before like Chamath or Churchill, watch it before you enter and adjust it. Thankfully, I was close to the $10 range buy, so it wasn't too much of a brutal hit. But it taught me what I learned from that paper cut lesson was what sectors to look for. Look for the energy, look for the fintech, look for the sustainability stuff. So that's what that taught me. I take that as a learning lesson. We pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for university. I know you did. I know I definitely did. I went to NYU. That cost a pretty penny to learn, and that's stuff that we don't use single day. This is stuff that folks do every single day. So if you take a loss, think of it as well, first you can write it off on your taxes. So that's fire. Second of all, you think of it as a learning experience and just roll with that punch and just take it from there. And it's completely fine. Talk about it openly because there's other traders that do it. So like, for example, with the PDUFA with me, with ADMP, this is a mistake I made previously as well with FBIO that I didn't learn from but these two mistakes added up to teaching me is, hey, if there's a PDUFA coming, it says like Sunday, it's coming out Monday morning. It's never going to be over the weekend. And the stock is tanking the previous Thursday and Friday. That means somebody somewhere knows something and they're selling off big. Time to get out. Ride hype up with the PDUFA. When it gets to peaks, scale in and out. That's what I was doing with FBIO, scaling in and out. But the mistake I made was I left some shares in there to ride into the PDUFA. Again, if they're free shares, all good. Let them ride. But if you've got capital in there, like I did with ADMP, again, scalp in and out. Scalping is when you buy and sell a stock quickly, for anyone in the chat or watching that doesn't know this. And if the stock is looking red those previous 2 days, get out. Worst case, you miss a ride up. Best case, you skip out on a ride down and you've got your capital saved. One thing that I want everyone watching, all 87 of you watching, is to remember that, hey, there is always going to be another stock. There's always going to be another 10%, 100%, 50%, 50,000% runner that's out there. Don't chase these stocks that are running up. If the stock is up 40, 50% for the day, it's very unlikely that if you're towards 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's going to be more volume that pushes it up to make it 100%, 200% runner. There's a lot more stocks out there. We live in a multiverse of stocks. Wait for the next one. It's like a train. You miss it, sorry, you can't chase the train on the tracks to try to catch at the next stop. You're going to get hurt. Just wait for the next one and you'll be completely fine. And just It's all good. Just like, again, take the emotions out of it, be smart, go in with a plan and execute on that plan, and you'll be more than good to go. And that's like the one thing that I try to tell all new traders is, if you see a stock, do some DD on it. Worst case, you get in a little bit later. Like, for example, if you blindly bought SOS when we spoke about it last week, right? Let's say, God forbid, you got caught in the offering and the offering didn't bounce, right? And we went down to $2 today. Everyone would hate my guts because they'd be down 50%. But what I would suggest to you is, if you were watching that Benzinga, and I hope you subscribed by now to be able to watch all the future episodes. These guys are on live every single day. You can see that at that time, had you done research, you'd have plenty of time to jump into the stock within the $4 range, do your own DD, learn from it, take it from there, and then if the stock makes sense, then jump into it. Worst case, you buy it $4.20, $4.50, even $5. Look at where we are today. We're at like 13, 14 bucks. You'd still caught the train. You didn't miss it because the stock didn't run too wild at that time. But when you chase someone blindly into a stock, like a lot of people unfortunately do, you see on Twitter, you get burned. You're going to hate that person. You're going to blame them. But realistically, you're the person clicking buy and sell. So you have to do some DD to be able to make sure you're doing good and going into the stock. And man, there's a lot to this trading thing. There's a lot to it.
On that point, I've been I was seeing some of the bigger names on FinTwit, financial Twitter, where they have like they have to specify now. They're like, if I'm posting a celebratory GIF or GIF, however you want to say it, of someone like celebrating about this stock, that doesn't mean go buy it, because they've had so many people like complaining. I'm like, what? I went and bought this after you posted this. And they're like, oh, that was me celebrating me selling it, not telling you to buy it, And so, it's just, if you're new to trading, you can't just be, blindly following stuff you see on Twitter. You kind of got to do your own DD. So that's excellent advice, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Of course.
I see Kevin hanging out in the chat. Should we bring him on?
Let's bring Kevin in. Kevin? This is a big moment for me. I'm actually a huge fan of Kevin Ryan's comedy and podcasts.
All right, let's bring him in. Let's tell him how big of a fan we are here. How's it going, Kevin?
Hey.
Let me get this thing taken down. How we doing?
Good. I'm good. Everything's working out. Good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Hey,
Thanks
Kevin,
for coming on.
So much for coming, man. First of all, you probably already know this. I've been a huge fan of you and the whole crew since back in the Center City comedy days, and it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much. You're big and famous now with the AYG podcast, Are You Garbage podcast. So, folks, if anyone out there is listening, Kevin Ryan and his co-host H. Foley, who, spoiler alert, we'll probably have him on the next episode, have a very, very successful podcast called Are You Garbage, which I'll have Kevin talk about later on. But Kevin is a New York City comedian who originated in Philly, came over a few years ago, worked his way up through the trenches. I'm really, really inspired by his journey and a lot of the other Philly comedians' journeys. Kevin and Foley inspired me to start what I'm doing now on FinTwit and openly talking about this stuff and starting a Patreon and all that. So I got to thank him here for that. But Kevin, if you could tell us
do I get 10%? Do I get 10% of the Patreon? I should, right? I should let me
you got it. As long as we don't have to give Foley another 10%.
Yeah, it's fair. He'll get 3% of my 10 points. Yeah, man. It's awesome. I mean, you reached out. Dude, it's so funny because I don't think we've ever met, but like, I mean, we've been talking for years. Like, we have such an internet relationship. You know what I mean? We've been going back and forth for years. I feel like I know you. But yeah, man, it's been a wild ride, and the fact that we've had a lot of not successful projects over the years, and then now to finally have a winner is nice, So it's odd to see it happening this quick. It's all like things are changing kind of daily, which is cool. So
yeah, you guys had like a rise, just like the whole investing community kind of did with stocks, where you guys took advantage of the whole COVID pandemic and you were able to get these bigger name guests, the Andrew Schultz, and these bigger folks to come on the podcast, and it's blown up. And honestly, I see it everywhere now. It's all over. I don't know, maybe I'm just following the right people, but it's everywhere now.
Yeah, we've got lucky. I kind of took it. I mean, we've been doing this for like a decade at this point, you know what I mean? And being a stand-up comedian or any sort of entertainer is not an easy route. Specifically stand-up comedy, you're kind of just getting punched in the face every day, like you live and die by your by your jokes every night. You know what I mean? So if it goes bad, you have like a really bad day. But so it's a tough road. But when the pandemic hit, I was like, not to sound cheesy, we had just launched Are You Garbage on
I remember.
I think we were 2 or 3 episodes in, and I was just like, I can't let this. I was talking to my wife. I was just like, I can't let this break me. Like I can't just have another failure of a project, you know? So it was just like, what can we do? And lucky enough, you know, it's kind of a timing thing. Like, we were lucky enough to have a bunch of famous comedian friends because we've been doing it for so long, and like people liked us and respected us. We just weren't, you know, nationally known or anything like that. So all these comedians were sitting at home during COVID, and we kind of just, you know, hit them up. Hey, could you do my podcast? Hey, and they were all like, yeah, of course, I'll do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, we were like turning people away at one point. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't get you today. I have to do, you know, someone else. So it really worked out. And then we kind of just, it's weird when you see, I don't know if it's like the years of work behind the scenes that finally catch up to the success. You know what I mean? It all just kind of starts snowballing, you know? So it's exciting, and I'm trying not to, you know, analyze it too much and just kind of be like, you know, continue with our heads down and do what we've been doing. We work really hard. You know what I mean? It's a lot of prep. It's a lot of, you know, a lot of production. We went out on our own. We put up a bunch of our own money to go out on our own, invested in a studio and all that stuff. So, but it's catching on. So, you know, it's finally nice to have a winner.
I love that. You guys are like big Bitcoin to me back when it was like a penny, because I've been following you guys since like episode 30 of your original podcast with the 5 of you guys, Center City Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in awe of your journey. You guys, I owe a huge thank you to all 5 of the hosts that were on that show. I know you and Foley branched off, and I know Siobhan branched off to his podcast, and we got Tom Cassidy, Derek Gaines, Reggie Conquest, all those guys branched off. But you guys, so I had a really tough time in college because I left high school with all my friends. I loved high school. I was like Foley. I loved high school. And then I went to college, and I knew nobody there. I was this only kid from Yonkers that was at this university in the middle of Brooklyn, NYU engineering campus. And all I had, like, I was bummed out, and I would listen to you guys weekly, and you guys made me so happy and energized. It really made me feel fantastic. And I felt like I knew you guys, and you guys got me through all that. And then Hard Feelings came out, which, folks, if you haven't signed up for Kevin Ryan's Patreon for Are You Garbage, patreon.com/Are You Garbage, these at the $10 level, you get one of the funniest podcasts on earth. And I'm not just saying that because he's here. I swear to God, this podcast is hilarious. I don't like last week's episode. You were talking about driving through the snow. I think that was behind the paywall.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was dying. I was dying.
That might be some of the funniest stuff we've done, or at least in a long time. You know what I mean? I was like, afterward, I mean, I went back and watched it, and I was just like watching myself die over and laugh. It was such a fun time. Yeah.
I was dying. And then you guys have your main podcast, which is the Are You Garbage? And hopefully, if it's cool with you, we could do a few questions here. I could sneak my way on. We could do a few questions if that's cool later on.
Sure. Of course, man. Whatever you want, buddy. I'm down.
And the kind of the premise of the show is where you folks talk to people to see if they're classy or trashy. And you had Fumi Abe on, and his episode was so hilarious. I was laughing so hard. I had to show it to my mom, and she was dying too. With the whole premise of like his dad being gone and all that. Dude, it's such clean.
You find out these
comedy.
people have like not insane, but these wild backstories. And the thing about it, you know, to hammer it down, is like, we get people to tell stories they've never thought of, right? We jog, like when a comedian goes on a podcast, he's like, I have these 10 funny stories that I lean on, that I try to muscle into a conversation. And when they come on, we ask them like off the wall stuff that they've never thought of, and we spark these memories. And then like you see it, we've talked about it, me and Foley, like you see it click in their eyes where they go, they're reminded of something that they haven't thought about in 25 years. And it's like always this bananas story. And they think it's like normal because that's how they were raised. And we're like, what are you talking about? That's nuts, you know? So you get these like odd off the wall stories but then you find out like everybody has those. So like everybody's story resonates a little bit with somebody else, you know?
Yeah, like you were saying, if you look at Fumi, I would never imagine in a million years that was his upbringing, because like you said, the way he dresses so cool and with that haircut and everything, and then you hear Fumi, you're like, this guy's complete garbage.
We even said it. I was like, I thought this was going to be a boring episode. I thought he was going to come in like, no, I didn't really do that. We didn't really do this, But then he was just like right away, like his grandma was doing insurance fraud and like all this, all this crazy stuff.
So Kevin, you do a stand up before podcast stuff?
Yeah, we were doing stand up probably about 10 years into stand up. So, it's just kind of working through the clubs and trying to work your way up. And, as just like a regular dude in New York, it's tough to gain traction. You know what I mean? If you don't have like some weird, kitschy thing or something, just like I'm replaceable by 500 people in the city. You know what I mean?
Do you ever have any stories of being like, doing a spot at a club and right after you, here comes on, someone big?
I mean, not like super, like I've never had like a Seinfeld. I've never had like, Jim Gaffigan one time. Jim Gaffigan one time. I don't know if I forgot about this. I was at this horrible bar on the Lower East Side. And they were like, hey, everybody, like Jim Gaffigan, he used to live in the Lower East Side. So he was walking by and they were like, hey, Jim Gaffigan, you should go on our comedy show. It starts in like a half hour. So he's like, maybe I'll be back. Well, he came back and then there was like 4 people in the audience and Jim Gaffigan goes on. And now there's a window to see into the bar. And now everybody's out on the street going, as people are walking by, they're going, hey, Jim Gaffigan's on stage right now. It's a free comedy show. So like, the dozens of people pile in to watch Jim Gaffigan and he kills because he's like the funniest, he's so funny and he kills. And then I was next. And then like everybody just started leaving the bar like one by one before I even got to the stage. They were like, all right, check, please. That's it for no. Just like by the time I got the mic and turned around, there was only 4 people left back. And the original 4 people were left back in the bar. And I just bombed for 8 minutes. It was horrible.
Yeah, that's like the definition of like tough act to follow. What's that? I mean, I just can't imagine there's any like more just scary feeling than sitting up there, just knowing you're bombing, looking at the people watching you, knowing you're bombing.
It's tough. You get used to, like, I'm used to it at this point. Like, you just get so jaded. It's like, I'll be bombing. Like, sometimes you'll bomb for 45 minutes. Like, you'll get up there and you have to do 40 minutes or whatever. And like, the first 2 minutes aren't good. And you're like, oh, this is going to be a long night. You know what I mean? And then like,
you just lean into it, just knowing you're bombing and being like, I guess this is what we're doing. We're bombing.
All right. Well, I'm contractually obligated to be here. You know what I mean? Like I gotta do 40 minutes to get my check or whatever. So you just become used to it. Some of them still stick with you. You just get off and you're like, I don't know, like, it'll just for whatever reason, crawl inside your heart and it live with you for a couple of days. But usually also too, it's like you do it every night. So like sometimes we'll do like 4 or 5 sets a night. So like if the first one stinks, you're like, oh, I got ones after that, So it's always the last set. You live and die by the last set. So you can always erase it kind of quickly.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I've watched the show. I think it's on HBO called Crashing with Pete Holmes.
Yeah, that was about my life we used to, it was so funny. They came down to the West Village to shoot that, to Greenwich Village. And we were standing on the corner trying to get comedy. And Pete Holmes was like, are you guys barking for the lantern right now? We're like, yeah. He's like, this is insane. Like he was across the street making a movie about what we were doing that minute. You know what I mean? It was, So like, there was a lot of Hollywood on that. You know what I mean? It was like, he did like 2 shows and then was sleeping on Sarah Silverman's couch or something crazy. A lot of comics had gripes with that, That's
kind of that's like the extent to my understanding of the New York comedy scene is watching Crashing. So I feel like I know everything that's going on, but it's
sure. It is. He truncated, he took like 5 years, like each year and put it in like an episode. You know what I mean? Like nobody would want to watch,
the actual
3 seasons of Pete Holmes standing on dinner, just like doing bad for 3 years. Nobody would want to.
Interesting thing. I mean, they bring Artie Lang on, who's obviously like, you can't get a more like classic New York comedian that's been through the whole ringer than Artie Lang. But they, one of the things that he talks about in the show is like, he'll kill it one night with the same material and then bomb it the next night. So it's like,
Yeah, that's like the tightrope you learn to walk. And like Jim Gaff, I'm a nerd about all this. Jim Gaffigan, I believe it was Gaffigan, was like, or Brian Regan was like, the audience is just an instrument I've learned how to play. You know what I mean? Like you have to like the guitar is the same every night, which is your jokes, and you just have to like figure out the inflection, the rhythm. Do you go at them? Do you pull back a little bit? Like how to. And that's just years of practice. You know what I mean? Like at some point you'll just be like, it's like a quarterback being good at what he does. It's like, oh, I've seen this defense before. Like I know how to read this. I know how to read that. And as you stick in it longer, you guess right more often, but like you still get blindsided sometimes. You get off stage and I don't know what the hell happened there. Like I was thrown on the high heat and nothing was working.
So maybe post COVID, we'll see some even more experienced comedians start bombing because they're not used to playing that audience.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like they do some shows now in the city, like on rooftops that they're doing like outdoors, and it's like a muscle. Stand-up's like a muscle you have to work out every day. Like if you take a week off, minus the pandemic, well, like if you take a week off, you're like you come back, you don't know what's going on, your timing's off. It's like. You have to keep your sword sharp, and that's being in the gym every single night, couple times a night, and you have to like re-listen to your sets and you record it and watch yourself. And then, dude, I go back to do like a show now on a rooftop for like 12 people under a heater, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm like forgetting my name, the microphone cord's coming out. I don't know what's going on. I'm a mess.
Yeah, and I mean, you're used to
thank God for the Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. I lean on that Patreon money. I might retire if that Patreon keeps going up.
Yeah, I see Jay Wise from the comments said, is this like late night Cinemax? We used to call that Skinemax. I don't think this is exactly like that. I don't know what,
No.
I could take my shirt off if you want me to.
No, I think we're good, Kevin.
That's okay, Kevin. So, Kevin, if your data is and they can check it out if they haven't checked it out already.
Say that again. I'm sorry, you clicked out.
I said, if it's cool with you, if we could play a little round of Are You Garbage so the viewers can get an idea of what the podcast is. Of course, we're not comedians and we're nowhere near as famous as the folks that you talk to, but I think it'd be a little bit of fun.
Sure, we'll do. I can ask you some of the general, the kind of the standard ones. Some of the standard ones were growing up. Did you drink milk with dinner?
No, God, no. The only time I ever drink milk is with cereal, and I haven't eaten cereal in years, and I put a little bit in coffee. But I don't know how folks do that. I've never been a big milk fan.
Yeah, how about you?
I would occasionally. I wasn't like a glass of milk at dinner every night. I wasn't like born and raised in Wisconsin or something like that.
You'd be surprised at how popular it is. It's a very divisive. It's very political stance to take.
Well, there's a joke there's a joke I see like on Twitter and stuff all the time where they're talking about like people don't realize like what public high school was in the US. They have you up at like 7 a.m. You're learning the Pythagorean theorem. Then at 10:30 a.m. you're eating a cheeseburger with a glass of chocolate milk, and then you're running a mile at 1 p.m. in gym class.
Yeah, you're getting a
not changing your clothes at all throughout the whole day. Yeah.
It's true. It's a very odd, odd dystopian kind of place. Another one would be growing up. Were you as a family? Were you allowed to wear your shoes in the house?
No, definitely no. Shoes off at the door. Don't even bring it on the carpet. Like right at the door. You got to take them off, and you got the little shoe rack. Put them in there in that little shoe closet.
It's classy. That's a classy household right there. What about you?
You could wear. We didn't have rules like that.
Oh man, this guy's lawless over there. Jeez, where did you grow up?
St. Louis, Missouri. I kind of
in the city or like the suburbs?
No, suburbs. Like I'm 15 minutes west of the city. So like technically my address still says St. Louis and stuff, but if I was going to go to Busch Stadium to watch a Cardinals game, it takes me about 15 minutes to get into the city. But shoot. No rules.
The shoes in the house is no good. You got to reassess that.
Really? I don't know.
That's a tough
I
one.
still to this day hate that, by the way. Like if I go over to a friend's house and they're like, take off your shoes, I'm like, come on, man, really? Like now I gotta get like
Yeah, man,
I gotta
really,
get dirt on my
you're
socks.
indoors.
I gotta get dirt on my clean socks.
Yeah,
But you're
no,
getting your
that's
dirt
bananas.
shoes on their carpet and rugs.
Well,
I
they're the
know.
one having people over.
That's true. I guess. I
Not
don't
my
know.
socks.
It's
My
still-
socks didn't make that up. My socks didn't make that obligation.
Hey man, Kevin made the rules. I can't say anything.
It's also way easier to clean a pair of socks than it is,
All right.
your floors.
I
Right?
get it.
Yeah.
I want to hear the next one. I'm gonna redeem myself.
Do you brush your teeth in the shower?
No, I don't think I've
No,
ever
but I
done
do
that my whole
something-
life ever.
Maybe even trashier, and I brush my teeth at like the kitchen sink a lot, and then I'll leave my toothbrush there sometimes. And
Oh man, this St. Louis kid is lawless. Where'd you find this kid, right? God.
Kevin, I think this is going to be the last episode on Benzinga. I'm going to get fired because he's going to get fired.
Wow. I used to have to do that when I first moved to New York. I lived in a 2-bedroom with like 4 people and I slept on the couch. And like I just would like mornings I would just have to brush my teeth because like so many people were using the bathroom. I would just have to brush my teeth in the kitchen.
yeah. I mean, it's not a problem.
It's not a
I
good
also,
look. It's not the classiest thing.
no, I
Like
also
the
sometimes-
Kennedys aren't brushing their teeth in the kitchen.
no, but I also drink
definitely
out of the kitchen sink sometimes instead of dirty in a glass, and the Kennedys probably aren't doing that either.
No, I don't think so. Maybe 1 or 2 of them, Let's see. Did your family ever own a chia pet?
No, never had chia pet. Had house plants, but never a chia pet. I always wanted one though. I'll be honest with you. The commercial
I know.
chia
yeah.
were hilarious and so catchy.
That's all I wanted when they came out with the guy with the hair too and the beard.
The faces were the best ones.
That's the one I think of. I think of the Afro one, but I think that might have been a little past. Like that might have been a couple years before me. Was when that big fad was going on.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Have you ever gone to the Coinstar machine for less than $20?
No, but I have gone to the Coinstar machine. So I have this jar where it's like my Acorn app thing that most folks do. I just do it myself. I haven't used Cash and Floss. I just throw it in there, and then like after like a year or two, I throw it in there, but never for less than $20. But when I was in high school, I would like if I was short for cash, needed some, I would dip into that jar.
Yeah. Been there picking out the quarters, and then there's only like nickels and pennies left after a couple of months.
Leave the copper behind.
This guy Morton in the comments said those eyebrows look like a chia creation. I was gonna get all defensive, and then I started looking around. I don't even know who he's talking to. I'm still gonna assume me.
I took it personal too when you said it. Then I looked at you, and I'm leaning a little towards you. It could be either one of us.
See, that was my initial thing too. Was I was like, oh, I took it, and I was like, no, it could be him or him, but probably me.
Yeah.
Probably
I mean, maybe
Can we
all
get
three
some
of us. Maybe
clarification from the comments?
Yeah, maybe he was talking about all 6 of our eyebrows could be chia pets.
Any more good ones from the Are You Garbage?
Yeah, we'll do 1 or 2 more. Let's do 2 more. Have you ever bought or sold anything on Craigslist? If so, what was it?
Yes, and I won't say.
No, never Craigslist.
Oh, he said, yeah, yes, and you won't say? That's even shady. What was it, a body or something?
I've never done. I've done eBay though. I've never done Craigslist. I've done eBay.
eBay is the respectable answer there. If you're going to be buying and selling stuff, I guess Facebook Marketplace has gained some popularity with the older folks. I've come to understand, with the people in the 30s and 40s, but eBay is the proper way to go. I've bought and sold a decent amount of stuff on Craigslist, and it's always a crapshoot of who you're going to meet in the parking lot of like some weird liquor store or something. Yeah, that aspect of it, the whole meeting them to get it, is what freaks me out. Like back when I was younger, my dad wouldn't even let me use eBay. He was like, "This is sketchy. You're giving them your credit card number," because there was no PayPal back then. They're like, they're going to steal your credit card. It was during that time when everyone was scared to shop online and do all that stuff. So that I avoided that. But then, like when you get older, you just can't avoid it. Kevin, you're muted.
Oh,
yeah, you're muted.
Good. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. My headphones died, and then I just muted it by accident. You used to have to show up with cash. I remember, like, I showed up to buy or sell a snowboard. I forget what I was doing. And I just remember like exchanging cash for goods with this guy. And I'm like, well, this is not safe at all.
Yeah, especially like the bigger deals, like a snowboard, I get like the maximum that cost is like maybe like what, 400 bucks. But like I've seen like these folks who do like deals on Craigslist on YouTube for like, now Pokemon cards are hot for like $10,000. They show up with like a fleet of security guards. And like, I'm like, what are you doing?
That's nuts. Yeah.
You have that much money, you shouldn't be on Craigslist.
Exactly.
Kevin, I was trying to think of one to ask you real quick to see. So I'm trying to think, did you ride the bus as a kid to school?
Sometimes I would get driven sometimes, or otherwise I would ride the bus. Yeah.
Okay. Because my question was going to be, what happened if you missed the bus? Because if you were walking to school, you know, that's one thing. Or if you got driven, then, you know.
Sure. I've missed the bus before, and if my parents weren't home, like if my mom wasn't home or something, I would just stay. I just be like, whatever, I missed the bus. Like I lived pretty far from the school. Like, you know, I wasn't walking to school. It would have taken me like an hour and 20 minutes, especially like in high school. I'd be like, well, you know, that's the bus's problem. That's not my problem, you know?
I got one that I just might. Have you ever bought like a birthday card, Christmas card, greetings card from the 99-cent store for someone just to avoid paying $5 for the card from like a Rite Aid or a CVS?
Never directly a dollar store, but I for sure go on the low end when I'm buying a card. Like, and I'm always like in a suit on my way to a wedding or something. Like I never do it ahead of time. I mean, I'm married now, so my wife gets ahead of it a little bit, but I'm always like, I'll go to the service. Like say it's like church, I'll go to the church or whatever. And then before I go to the reception, I'll stop at like a Dwayne Reed or whatever, and then grab a card for like whatever the cheapest is in the wedding section. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Hold on, I see real quick.
What about you, Aaron?
Luke just asked what was the what were you asking, Kevin?
You ever go to the 99-cent store to grab a greetings card or a birthday card or Christmas card for someone?
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I got a card for someone. You know, I'll get gifts, but I usually just you know, I usually that'll suffice the gift. But maybe that'll be something I have to start doing more, just to going to the 99-cent store and getting cards, because that sounds like a good way to knock some out, you know. And I want to address this question real quick in the comments. We got Luke asking, do any of you have any collectibles you're holding on to? So I don't know if y'all, Ryan or Kevin, seen this, but like there's a couple sites right now. One's called like Rally Road, where they will put, you know, a collectible on there that you couldn't normally afford. So they just did one for a Wayne Gretzky rookie card.
Damn.
And it IPO'd at like $800,000 or whatever. So you can buy some shares in there and own shares of a Wayne Gretzky rookie card. And yeah, I'm like, who wouldn't want to own, you know, like how is this not going to go up, right? Like this is the best hockey player of all time. There's not another Wayne Gretzky. There's one rookie, you know, there's one card. It's not, you know, whatever. So, you know, that avenue to buy those fractionally shares is something that's really cool. It's happening. Like I said, Rally Road is what that site is called. Ryan, have you looked at
it? I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
No, I was never big into sports cards, but growing up, I collected like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that. I still have them in hopes that one day that'll pop off. Pokemon went off, so I'm waiting for that to go off, and then maybe you can move some of those around. But we need to get those two brothers from YouTube. I'm blanking on their name. To start buying some Yu-Gi-Oh cards instead of Pokemon cards.
Two brothers on YouTube. I don't know. I was gonna
the Jake Paul.
Yeah,
Jake Paul, John Green, and whatever his brother is. The Vlog Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to show you. It's so funny that I'm on like invest stock and investing finance. I sold the Bitcoin I was holding at like 11,000 in September or whatever it was.
No, I was gonna bring it up, but I didn't want to. That's tell us about your Litecoin journey.
That's how little I belong on this show right now.
No, you're actually perfect. We want folks who aren't good at this to come and talk to us. I know you dabbled in Litecoin.
Yeah, I had my friends. My friends are all like, you know, financial advisors and stuff like that or whatever. And, you know, I'm in a group text with them, and then I'll just like pick up pieces of what they're doing, or like, hey, I'm going to do this. They go, that's what we're doing. And then I get in. I got in late on Litecoin. They all made money. They made money on the, you know, Bitcoin. And what did that make a run in like 18 or whatever that was in 2018.
Yeah, like 2017.
I put a couple of stacks into Bitcoin and over the summer, like whenever it was, maybe September or October, it went down to like 10 or 11,000, whatever that was. And like, I was gobbling up then. And then I told myself too, because we needed it to build the studio to go out on our own. And I'm like, I told myself, and it's kind of funny because I heard you talking when I was, waiting to get in this. You were like, there'll be another one. There'll be something else that runs. And that's what I told myself. I was like, there'll be something else, or I'll get in on its next run or whatever. I'm like, I need the capital now to invest in my future in the studio, which is paying, hopefully longer and or just as good as returns as Bitcoin. So, but I was so frustrated.
You guys just crossed 700 patients, so you're good. Yeah, dude, that's
we're
brutal.
We're doing all right.
So I got stuck in Litecoin. Yeah, I got stuck in Litecoin. So like when this whole crypto stuff started, I was in high school when I first heard about Bitcoin, like 2012. I had no idea how to buy it. We knew this one kid named Lucas who came here from Poland who somehow got his hands on Bitcoin, but I had no idea. And then like in the whole craziness of 2017, I grabbed up some Litecoin, and then the CEO of Litecoin or whatever, the head guy, sold all of his coin, and it went from like $300 to like $40. And I was like, I'm ruined. I'm ruined. So I've just been holding on to that, and Litecoin has been still lagging. I mean, I got some Bitcoin and some Ethereum and all that stuff too, but Litecoin's been lagging. And every time I look at Litecoin, I just remember all the podcast conversations that you guys had about Litecoin, about you, the whole buy low, sell high, sell it to pay for this. And so I was like, I got to bring it up, and I got to ask Kevin about Litecoin stuff.
Yeah, I'm currently.
Do you invest now? Do you like grab any stocks?
I don't. I'm going to, now that we're we're making some cash and stuff. But honestly, like, I bet it all on myself. I took like all, I mean, we got a commercial space, we got a bunch, we had to build the studio. We built a studio in like a week. Right. So I dumped all the cash I need, I needed all the capital that I had to get it off the ground. And so that's where it is. So hopefully I'll, after it did, let me know when I should buy again, when it's dipping back down off this run. Or do you think it's just, it's got us, people are going to start selling soon, I would assume, right?
So the way that I see with Bitcoin specifically is what happened was when Elon Musk bought 1.5 billion of Bitcoin, it created like a massive support layer at 46,000. And just right now, it was flirting with 50,000 like for the past few days. And now today it crossed into 52,000. I do expect if we get to like the 60,000 area, we do come down towards the mid 50 area. And then, but my prediction is for the end of the year, we'll be closer to 100K. So the thing that I tell people with Bitcoin is, it's gonna be nuts. What I tell folks with Bitcoin is just don't buy it. Just buy it, leave it in there. Don't look at it. It's gonna be brutal for a couple months. You're gonna be queasy over it, and then you'll come back to it like a year or 6 months from now, and you'd be like, "Woof, that was a good one. That was a good one to hold on to."
Yeah. I got to get back in. I just got to find the right time to get back in, but I'll get back in.
If it looks good, I'll shoot you a DM on Instagram. Be like, hey, Kevin, it's looking hot right now. Jump in.
Yeah, let me know for sure.
Not a financial advisor, but just for the legalese.
Of course.
But
I'm not a comedian either for legal purposes.
Well, I wanted to go back real quick to Luke's question about the collectibles. I was going to mention real quick too. It reminded me, I was looking at the painting that Kevin had behind him. I don't know if that's, like an expensive painting or something, but there is a website like the Rally Road that does the sports cards one for like nice painting. So if you want to invest in like a Picasso or something, so I got in on there. I was actually like researching the company a little bit, and it's like if you can own $1,000 worth or $500 worth of like some Picasso or some dead artist that their art's just going to keep appreciating. Why not? It's fun to say you own 100th of this painting or whatever. Yeah,
it's a great idea. I mean, that's I'm definitely going to look into that. That's just cool to
the art one. There's art on like a couple different on Rally Road too. The art one that I did was from Masterworks, and apparently after looking into it, like Masterworks was the go-to one for fine art, and the other collectible ones were a little bit more. They had like some Yu-Gi-Oh card sets on there, Pokemon sets, and the Wayne Gretzky one. So they had some One of them actually did an IPO on a dinosaur skeleton. So you could buy shares of like dinosaur bones.
Damn.
I gotta get that's wild. Kevin, we got an IPO AYG, man. We got to IPO that one. Get that going.
Soon. I have a master plan. I got a master plan. So hopefully it all takes off.
You got to let me come in as an early investor, not these schmucks on IPO day.
It's so funny. I went to my buddies when I needed cash, and I went to my buddies. I was like, my rich financial advisor friends. I was like, yo, I need capital. Do you guys want a piece of this? And they were like, I don't know. They were like kind of like all, and now they're like, we should have bought in. I was like, yep, you should have.
Man, if you should have reached out to me, I would have definitely bought in like early, because I remember Are You Garbage back when you guys were doing it on Center City Comedy, and it was a blast there. And it turtle headed itself into the Are You Garbage stuff. And then when Center City ended, it broke my heart. And then you guys were legally obligated to do Hard Feelings. So this is awesome. Like, two of my favorite members are going to do their own pod, and then AYG came out of it. So it's like this cyclical thing. And the funny thing is, every time one of your podcasts failed, I took an L in life as well. Like when Hard Feelings ended, my startup failed.
I know. I remember.
And then I started the whole FinTwit stuff.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I remember. I mean,
yeah, exactly. So it's like
for years. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been parallel roads. So you guys got successful. I'm getting pretty semi-successful myself. I mean, nowhere near you guys, but it's been an honor and a pleasure watching you guys grow as comedians and people and just in business. It's so fun to watch that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate all the support over the years. I mean, there's a handful of the OGs that stuck with us, over the past 6 or 7 years, and you're definitely one of them. So I appreciate all the support, man. I was happy to do this.
Of course, man. Thank you so much. So if you want to let the folks know where they can find you, where they can find AYG.
Yeah, so on social media, I'm at Kevin Ryan Comedy across all platforms. And then our podcast is called Are You Garbage? It's wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. We do full video available on YouTube. You can subscribe there. And we do 2 episodes a week. And then we have a Patreon where we do a bunch of bonus stuff. So you can sign up and subscribe. We do live streams where we play with the with our top tier patrons and stuff. It's a good time. Get involved. Give it a shot. Maybe it's for you. Maybe it's not. But have a look.
I don't even know.
Patreon.com/areyouGarbage, right?
I feel so behind. Can you explain to me what Patreon is? Is it just premium podcast? It's like an OnlyFans for podcasts?
It's like an OnlyFans. It's for artists, right? So it's you can there's illustrators on there, and they'll make something personally for you. It kind of creates a chain of commerce between you and the person, you and a listener or a fan or whatever directly.
They do that with Substack too, right? Kind of does the same thing.
I don't know Substack, but it's a very similar to OnlyFans, and there's tiers and levels you can get in and stuff like that. So it's cool. A lot of people, a lot of fans like it because it creates this they feel like they're VIP. You know what I mean? They're getting this stuff that other people aren't getting.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about cutting out that third party to advertise or whatever. If you feel like you're just directly funding the content you're listening to.
Yeah, man, it's definitely created an awesome bond between us and the patrons. We do live streams, and it's fun for us. You know what I mean? It's the same guys. We have recurring jokes in it and stuff. It's a good time.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear it. I mean, I know with COVID and stuff, so many people have just had to kind of adapt and keep running. So it sounds like y'all have done that well. So congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on, Kevin. It was an honor speaking with you, and hopefully next time we can have your co-host Henry on. I've been talking to him on Instagram too, so it was a blast. Thank you so much.
Of course, guys. Take it easy. Have a good night. Thanks, Ryan.
Right, thank you, Kevin.
Good night, man. Have a great one.
All right, that was fun, Ryan. Thank you for bringing Kevin on.
For sure. Yeah, man, I had a blast. I mean, I've been a fan of Kevin for a while. I reached out to him. He was the first one that came to mind when we were having that little brainstorm session over the Google Doc. I was like, these guys are the most accessible New York City comedians I have right off the bat. Of course, I know quite a few others as well that we can hopefully reach out to, bring them on, a few musicians. Hopefully we can keep the show going if Jason's cool with it. But it's a blast. I mean, it's a different angle. Right now, we talked about stocks a little bit in the beginning. We brought Kevin on. We had a blast. We've been here for an hour, and just I'm relaxed and ready for the next day. I don't know about you. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that's like the main goal of this should be is like, you know, we can come in, kind of recap what's going on in the market today, but at the end of the day, it's like, you know, trading can be kind of a stressful thing. And it's like, how can we, you know, relax, unwind, have a good time with each other and connect on some of the other things that we as traders like to do, whether that be, you know, comedy, music, whatever it is, we can kind of connect some of those other interests we have. And, you know, I'm excited for it, Ryan. I think it's a lot of fun.
Me too. Me too. So what are you doing for fun for the rest of the week into our hopefully next episode? Are you watching anything fun?
You know, nothing really off the top of my head, you know, still just kind of COVID, so locked down at home, you know, just gonna try to find something to binge watch on Netflix or Hulu or something when I hopefully get done with work this weekend. So if y'all have anything in the comments, suggestions to watch, to hang out, let me know.
Check out The Sinner. I just finished that on Netflix. It's a cool thriller, like mystery show that they have. They have 3 seasons up there. Season 3 just came out. Really, really good show. This season revolves around Matt Bomer as a character, so each season is a different character that they have. It's a really good watch, quick watch, and it keeps you engaged from the beginning. It's not like most Netflix shows where it like takes a few episodes to ramp up. This one, I think USA makes it, and it ramps up right off the bat. And I had a blast watching it. It was a thriller. It's a lot of fun. I think you'd enjoy that.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that out, Ryan. All right, well, let's let our viewers go, and thank y'all for joining us for the evening, and hopefully we'll see y'all next time.
Thank you folks so much. Bye-bye.